So I finally get to see you. Yes, you really do look like a messenger of sorrowful times. How fucking rude. In any case, welcome to the Rod. Our meeting is quite significant in a way. Facing the changes with open eyes and taking their first blow is my duty. Look, not to tell you how to live your life or anything, but you shouldn't talk about your rod and blowing in the same sentence. Do you think we're on the verge of an especially unhappy era? Now, on the verge is a very generous way of putting it, isn't it? No grim events have clouded our existence since last summer. It's practically eons ago, never mind. The country has cured its war wounds, commercial communications have been repaired. Astrologists expect nothing ill. Oh, really? Do you hold astrologists' opinions in high regard? Well, they were telling me that I could expect great changes in my work or home life in the near future. That seems to roughly be happening, so I guess you got me. Sometimes I have to. Are you an astrologist? Who do I have the pleasure of speaking to? The movements of the planets have an obvious effect on our life, however, I do not think it's humanly possible to gain any profit from that. One of these responses is not like the others.
The outcome was to be expected, I'm afraid. Simon was doomed.
That doesn't sound like it was to be expected based on everything else that has been told to us thus far, but whatever. So you've come to meet with Simon, haven't you? What can I do for you now? I was actually invited to by Isidore, so I came to meet with him first and foremost, but now it turns out that... Who are the people guarding Isidore's house? Nothing, not anymore. Why are you giving me that look? As if Simon's death was my fault. I mean, he just looks... I can't really read this guy's expression. I don't know if that's what he's really thinking. I think he might actually be constipated, but whatever. He's been murdered. Yes, looks like the murderer is always one step ahead of you, doesn't it? I've been here for like 3 minutes. Calm the fuck down. The same one that took Simon's life too. At least that's the conclusion suggested by the information at my disposal. Same pattern, same signature. Were there any so who did it? Well, he probably wouldn't be here talking to us if he knew that one. Look, I haven't been there myself. I'm quite content with interrogating suspects, especially since we already know who we're after. Oh, fuck. That's me shown, I suppose. You can join the hunt, by the way. I can describe his features. There's absolutely no need. As of now, total impartiality is my motto. What does that have to do with fucking anything? What does total impartiality have to do with fucking anything that we just talked about? Who is it then? You wouldn't believe it. His own son. I would quite easily believe that, but which one? The fellow came back after being away for quite a while. His father had sent him to the study. Oh, they think Horospex killed this guy, right? His father had sent him to study surgery when he was but a greenhorn. Quite a lot he has learnt, huh? Wasn't there like a talon sticking out of this guy that was like that big? I don't know, this doesn't quite line up. A wandering scholar turned evil to the bone. All of that just to grab the inheritance. How do we know this? Wait, how did you figure that out? That's exactly what I'm wondering. In all honesty, it's hard to explain to an outsider like you. Was it the stars? Be straight with me, Alexander. Was Venus in alignment, and that's how we know? Like, what's going on? Do you believe in such things as clairvoyance, Bachelor? I estimate within a year's time, the plot of Minority Report is gonna happen in this town. No. Well, you should get to know my wife then. Oh, fucking hell. Or better yet, those who have already had opportunities to witness the power of her prophecies. Former doubters, first and foremost, rationalist. She's got something to say to you too, by the way. feel like this might be one of those arrangements, like in Avatar. You know when the fortune teller told the guy that he'd be wearing red shoes when he met the love of his life, so then he wore red shoes for the rest of his life? Feel like that might be what's gonna happen. So your wife called out Isidore's son specifically. So you do have rationalists in this town, except for me, that is. I like it. There are very few good analysts in our town. I noticed. Everyone is more or less superstitious here, except for one, Yulia. Liracheva? Yeah. Yulia. Perhaps a most level-headed and reasonable person. The only person to remain skeptical about Katerina's talents, too. Also, League of Legends hero. Without a shadow of a doubt, she has her own picture of events. She always does. What is this, Yulia? How fucking rude. She came here with an engineering team when the town was being rebuilt. Did she build the hexahedron? Did logistics or maybe communications? Not sure. They said she's a true expert in her field. Smart, yes. A polymath. Then the team left, but she stayed. I can't fathom a reason she would want to do this. She has my respect, but not my fondness. Holds any merit. She's absolutely not what I'm looking for. Smart? I don't want to have a word with her. Get her away from me. Alright, so she's over there. Conveniently, the intelligent Yulia, as if she's the only fucking one. Alright, nice talking to you, sir. What a productive... This door is blatantly different. Okay. I feel like we wasted a tremendous amount of time in talking to this man, but whatever. Man, what the fuck's going on? Like, I've played some out-there games in my time. I've played Deadly Premonition. I understood what was happening in that game better than I understand what's happening in this game. Granted, I finished Deadly Premonition. I've, like, not scratched the surface of this game, I feel like. But, like, I just really have no fucking clue what's happening right now. All I know is that there's a dead sorcerer in town and we're trying to figure out who did it. And, you know... whatever. I'm prepared to meet a game halfway, you know? Like, I'm prepared to let the horror game scare me. I'm not gonna try and figure it out or anything. But, like... I feel like this game is having me go pretty out there. I feel like I'm having to meet it more like 3/4 of the way there, you know? What are you doing? What's going on? You want to talk about it? You want to maybe do some... Like, this guy's an alien. Like, his eyes are on fucking stalks in front of his face. No thank you. Goodbye. Yeah, a full remake of this game got funded on Kickstarter, because this game is actually quite beloved by the people that did play it. Maybe that would speak to me a little more, because I'm really not seeing the appeal so far. Yulia? Hello? Uh-huh. Alright, oh, there she is.
I'm afraid I'm of little use now.
Are you a man? That was a very strange... I didn't expect that voice to come out of you. It didn't sound like I expected. So, I seem to have lost any capacity for observation. My mind is out of tune. Things no longer add up. Before, I had no trouble forming a trustworthy tessellation out of the most imperceptible contingencies. Put the fucking thesaurus down! Now I simply cannot get my head around it. Could it be that I am dying? What is wrong with everyone in this fucking town? The steppe air is way too thick. It happens when people are tired. You probably haven't slept in a while, have you? I believe that. Yes, yes! It definitely means you're about to die. I'm gonna pick it. Is that so? If I die, the universe would not notice my passing. But what if there are people who are the walking embodiment of the law by which events are connected to each other? What is going on? What would happen to the universe if any one of these people were to die? Do you think you are such a person? When I was a child, I took enormous pleasure in thinking I was one. Later in my life as a student, I rather saw it as an honor of which I was not necessarily deserving. Today, however, I treat it as a somewhat scornful affliction. I agree. You are indeed a scornful affliction.
This girl is a changeling. She's not the murderer.
I know we could have picked Changeling if we'd beaten the game once, so you have traveled all the way here only to find that both people you wanted to see were brutally murdered. Is this how the story goes? I do hope that your visit is not in any way related to these most unfortunate circumstances. The stars have informed us that it is indeed my fault. I have to find whoever it is that killed Isidore and Simon, and I wanted to ask for your help. Sabura Alexander told me you have a gift for all manners of inquisitive inquiry. It's a shame you're definitely about to die. Do you like Ava Yan? Who the fuck is Ava Yan? Is that a name we've heard? Oh, it's the lady we were talking to at the start of the game. Right. I doubt that I can do it on my own. Tell me plain and simple, what do you make of all of this? Whatever, let's go with this one. I am certainly no better investigator than you. I have never had a chance to search for a murderer before. The best I can offer is to fill in the blanks with whatever mysterious supernatural entities seem most fitting. Shabnak Adir, fucking elder god, is the simple man's scarecrow. I would have followed a different narrative. What kind of narrative? Consider the circumstances of his death. They said Simon had locked himself up in the evening and consequently died in the morning inside the mansion in a chamber with some peculiar name. What's that word? The one you've just said? Which one? Shabnak? Elder God? Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, okay, great. Shabnak Adir. You mean? The steppe demonology describes it as a kind of golem, belched up by the earth to punish all manner of delinquency. Alright, is it the dude in the mask, or is it the crows? Or is it some other thing we haven't met yet? No, the crows were executioners, weren't they? Or executors. So no. It is shaped as a young woman. Well, that answers my fucking question, doesn't it? If you read 4 words ahead, you might learn the answer. But made of clay and exhumed bone matter. An unnerving concept, is it not? I figured out the twist. The changeling is one of them. Not that that matters to us, we're bachelor right now. I've always suspected that primitive worldviews still exist in remote corners of our country, but I couldn't imagine they would be so active. I couldn't have imagined it was actually happening. I knew you would be exasperated by this discussion. Sacrifices, bovine tails, handfuls of milk teeth in a glass beaker. You may forgive this to children and steppe people, yet having the same notions reiterated by someone surrounded by books on natural history? This must be quite vexing. No, I just think you're fucking crazy, actually, like everyone else. How would you explain this? Oh, fuck. Alright. Didn't know that happened. The answer is bound to irritate you even more. The tales are true. Bah! Bah! You are joking, of course. I do hyperbolize a little. It is beyond debate that Shabnak Adir exist. What is dubious, though, is that bovine tails and milk teeth offer genuine protection from her. That which is to say, sympathetic contrivances like this may be of some use to children and people from the steppe, but are explicitly inefficacious for someone like you and me. We are too literate, too deprived of the scripture codified in ancient soil. So, am I supposed to write off a bad harvest as a sign that the steppe spirits are angry now? For crying out loud, Yulia! You are a mystic! Saburov is mocking me! I'm with it. We have no choice but to acknowledge the rules enforced by the steppe. We try— So is the steppe like a physical entity at this point? Is it like Silent Hill? We tried to ignore these rules to place ourselves into the framework of advanced modernity. Advanced modernity to no avail. You can call these demons what you want. You may refer to the hair eater as time, if this will make you any happier. What? No, that doesn't make me any happier. I am comfortable with a more juvenile vernacular. It is what I am used to. What's going on? We're talking about demons walking around outside. And then she's like, if you want to refer to it as time, that's fine. I will find a rational explanation for the crimes of this man-eater by the evening, if you help me, of course, even though I think you're crazy, you know. You are repeating something that Isidore had once told me almost word for word. This is news to me. By the way, I find his murder far more infuriating than Simon's. Okay, not sure what that has to do with anything, but we're gonna go with that one. Alright. Let me suggest then that while he was in the steppe, he saw or learned something that he wanted to report to all three ruling families. Oh god, excuse me, Jesus. In this case, either of the Olmsky family should have been on his itinerary, especially since Burka was one of their own men. Really? Definitely. The Bulge project, from the abattoir to the railway, is controlled by the What's the Bull project? Is controlled by the Olmsky family. If Isidore's discovery had anything at all to do with the kin, Isidore would have certainly relayed it to Vlad. So do make sure to pay a visit to the Lump. That's the name of the Olmsky mansion. Another fitting name, wouldn't you agree? I would definitely not name my home the Lump, but thank you, Yulia. What would I do without you? So we've got to go over there, which is where we were told to go as Horsebecks. So, it all checks out, sure. Thank you very much for your time. Your house is fucking weird, just like every other house. So how do we get over there? We walk this way for about 1 billion years. Fair enough. You know, the really maddening thing about walking through this town is that if you listen to your own footsteps, you walk about 3 times more than your character is visibly walking. Listen. Like, it sounds like you're jogging, but this is a saunter at best. I've found some interesting artwork. That's ominous. Bear that one in mind. Those masked men are perhaps not to be trusted. Who would have fucking guessed? I don't know if I'm seeing shit where it doesn't exist anymore, but I swear to God that there's a shape in this window that looks like a fucking demon head. I don't know if I'm just going crazy at this point. Yeah, that might happen if you rub up against crazy people for long enough. You might catch it like the flu. I don't know. So we're here now, right? Yeah, we're here now. Great. Let's not talk to that guy. That was a mistake. Sick, it's open. Easier time than Horsebecks had. Fucking hell, what an inviting room this is. Jesus Christ. Oh, fucking hello. How are you? Have you been expecting me?
Many a mickle
Alright. What's going on with this right here? I don't know. Ah, Bachelor Devonsky, of course. Who else could be so dapper? Look at you. You're standing here meeting me in your best bathroom mat. I've heard quite a lot about you. Have you taken a look around? Be sure to check the state of the industry around here. We have our own ways. I've noticed. How curious! And what is the current state of your industry? Come now. It's a complicated establishment with 1,000 years of history. A special approach is required to control such a colossus. See where I'm getting at, emissary? No. It would be pointless to object. I can see we're not really seeing eye to eye. The project is special. Very special. That means common standards do not apply here. That would be very naive. You are probably right. We'll come back to that.
No, I won't believe in some earthen killer.
Yes, getting back on track won't be an easy task. I'd like to inquire about the fate of my colleague Isidore Burker, about the manner of his death, to be precise. What are you implying? Calm down. What's going on with his face? He's suddenly gotten anime eyes. They're huge. What's going on there? What's he thinking about? What is this manner you're talking about? Be so kind as to mind your own manners. Fucking hell. I had nothing to do with... I'm not implying anything. Yo, I feel like I'm about to get fucking whacked, you know? It's like that scene in the movie, do I look like a clown to you? That's what I feel like is happening right now. I had nothing to do with it. Don't they say Isidore was murdered by a step demon? A Shabnakadir? There was that thingy. A few minutes ago we were talking about tessellation and then this guy's just casually dropping thingy in there. A talon they fished from the wound. A respectable... Oh, I don't know about that one. Right. A demon. Why didn't I think of it straight away? It was so obvious. No need to put on airs. Like you know life. Scarcely off the train and full of scorn already. Oh, I know these big city manners full well. Yet the capital is 1,000 versts away, and is any other decently civilized place, if you catch my drift. And you didn't let me finish. Alright, I apologize for the sarcasm. Is your money where your mouth is, though? Sorry for being sarcastic. Huge sarcasm immediately after. It's hard for you to believe, isn't it? It used to be hard for many. Take my boy, for example. A scoffer, if ever I've seen one. And now even he believes it's real. He went off his head a bit. You're in the steppe now, esteemed sir. Eastern and backwards. The dead rise from their graves here. Clay dummies dance, and bulls talk. We have already talked to a talking statue, so, yeah. And how do we catch this creature? There must be a way, right? I have no idea. I'm not a steppe man. These animals are only as interesting as they are, productive. All is good as long as the plow is pulled. As for how they're quacking amongst themselves, who would seriously take interest in that? Why was I cursed with a son like this? Oh, my sins, my grave sins. So your son bears little semblance to you. He rubs elbows with the rabble. The butchers, Odong, shepherds, and gatherers. Learns their tongue, collects their legends. He doesn't keep them in check at all. They even dare to come visit him within the premises of the town. If you see a worm creeping through the streets, he's definitely looking for my son. What's wrong with them visiting here within the premises of the town? They're dangerous, they're aggressive, and they hate everyone. Who isn't a step person? They'll jump you and kill you on the spot. They'll tear you up with their teeth and devour your flesh while you're still throwing fists at them. So if they're spotted within the town, countermeasures are taken. So what of your son? Perhaps he could tell me more about this creature. Hold your horses. You want to talk to my blockhead? No, you have nothing to talk about. He's not here, thankfully. I don't want you two to meet. You heard me? These are tradesmen's words, and I'll stick to them. Yes, undoubtedly. Great. Awesome. So,
Lucky people are bad hands at correcting their faults. They always believe that they're right when fortune backs up their vice or folly.
how do you think Simon died? I don't think he was murdered. How could he have carved How could he who craved monarchy, whatever, not perish? He couldn't. Not in this place. Fucking just saw the cat move out of the, I can see the camera, and I just saw the cat move out of the corner of it, and I was pretty convinced it was a demon. So, you know. Good job. Asshole. Balance requires equilibrium. So Simon's course of action contradicted yours. So what you're saying is Simon's death worked in favor of the local hotshots, huh? Come now. What I'm saying is, when someone takes too much upon themselves, they always end up ground down. That's how life works. Yet they say Simon was the one to bend the circumstances, not the other way around. No one seems to doubt that. Simon has lived a very long life. Very long. But long doesn't mean eternal, does it? No one is to blame for his death. Examine the body, you'll see for yourself. It just happened. Cain won't let me examine the body. Well, that is temporary. A family tradition. He's not lying to you. He truly believes Simon was murdered. Were he to admit that Simon simply died of death, people die when they're killed, he'd probably go to his last home himself. The shock would be too much for the man. That's strange. Georgie Cain didn't appear sentimental to me.
The girl is fine, but the boy's unbearable.
So what if he did? I am also aware of what you two have been talking about. All I want to know is why he left to see Simon afterwards. Oh my, pray forgive me. So he wanted to bring me to heel, that traitor, that bastard. Well, what he asked for was for me to stop the factory. How could I not kick him out? What were his reasons? What did he tell you? I mean, I'm interested in both of these things, but I'll go with this. His reasons? Huh? The bastard. He reasoned he'd pay a visit to my daughter. He knows full well how to pull my strings. Well, I told her to lock the door, so away he went none the wiser. Okay. Oh, the bastard. So he went to Simon, huh? Thank goodness my loafer of a son is hanging around somewhere. Or else... he could have. Could have what? Huh? That, my dear and respectable friend, is none of your business. My property, like I said earlier, is in order. See the skin and meat delivery reports. Do you know how hard? No way. It's my domain, whether anyone riots or not, and I'll have my way with them. I'll find everything out eventually. I think we're done. We're done. Alright, so this was not a particularly illuminating visit, and I have no idea what the next step is. Fucking hell, your bed is gigantic.